Welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. If you are a sports bettor, this is the most important hour of your day because the #1 sports consultant in America has brought his national radio show and podcast here to YouTube. So while you're here, go ahead and like and subscribe or download the podcast and listen on your schedule. And now, here is our host, the #1 sports consultant in America, ready to make you money this week and every week, the Fat Jack.
Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. I'm in London still. Brandon's in Louisville. We are just loving life right now because we are absolutely dominating the games. We're winning in every sport. Everything I'm saying is right and has been for a couple months. I sound like one of those scandy cappers, but it's the truth. When we lose, I'll talk about it. We're going to talk about a losing day again this last weekend, but it wasn't enough to overcome all the wins. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get your weekend started, get you into some profit. For some of you, try to dry up your tears. We are into October, and you know what? October can be a fickle mistress. So let me bring in my co-host all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. Let's get this show underway, get you into some profit, and start winning. Brandon, how are you, buddy?
I'm well. The weekend festivities were fun. The wedding, I survived. I did eat my weight in appetizers. And it was a good time had by all. But the best thing that made it the put it over the edge was knowing that those picks were winning. So that made it awesome.
I hope the people paying for that wedding had to pay by the crab cake and it was not a bulk rate. And I hope that they lost money on the deal because they did it on Saturday and we had nothing else to do besides eat their food and watch TV on their phones while trying to hide that from whoever they were with who wanted to pay attention to the wedding. So
the good news, the bad news maybe for them is that they're all Kentucky fans for the most part. And of course they lost to Ole Miss. So they went into it with a bit of a sour mood, but took it out on the dance floor.
You know what? That's not your problem.
No.
You know, college football is college football. It's a national holiday, as is the NFL on Sunday. You just don't get married on those days. It's common knowledge. So open any fortune cookie, Brandon. That's what it says, and if it doesn't, it should.
Maybe we should make fortune cookies that say exactly that.
Don't let me go down that road. I tried to make fortune cookies back about 8 years. I had tried to make Karen make fortune cookies,
right? And
had her look into it. There's one company that makes 90% of all the fortune cookies. They're in Houston. It's not as easy as you would think, and it costs a lot more. I couldn't get the logistics together, and Karen wasn't willing to make tens of thousands of fortune cookies out of our kitchen. So, but I was mad because back then I was eating about 7 meals a day, and I would eat about 10 fortune cookies, and a lot of them wouldn't have fortunes in them.
Yeah, they become observation cookies now.
Right?
They're not really fortunes anymore.
And that really, really drove me crazy. I wanted some fortunes. And I wasn't getting it, so I tried to make my wife do it, and of course that did not work. So, let's recap the weekend. You went to a wedding. I'm in London. This show's not long enough today. We have a lot to get to. But let's start with last week, as we always do. Let me give the info out, give me the numbers out, the email out, website out, so we can get people signed up. I mean, guys, if you're missing out and you listen to this show, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I really don't. It's so good right now. Everybody is. Well, you cannot screw up these picks. I'm sure you can. I've had a couple people that didn't renew. I don't know what I don't know what they did. It never ceases to amaze me. I actually told my wife on the flight over here that it doesn't matter how well I do. There's always going to be. You know, of course, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, so it's not like a large percentage. 10. 20 didn't renew, not counting the people who go to Vegas. A lot of people go to Vegas, they go to Colorado, they go to a state, and they're going to gamble for the weekend. But long-term guys, you could not screw it up. Everybody made money. This last week, we won Monday, we won Thursday, we won Friday. Bases won during the week. They won Tuesday, they won Wednesday, won Thursday, won Friday. Saturday, we lost. Our first losing Saturday. We were 17-5 going into last Saturday. All these games are posted, so if you want to read along, go to the results tab at fatjacksports.com and read along because all of them are there. Everybody gets the same ones. They're all posted and documented. Lost on Saturday. Lost one more game than we won, half a unit, basically. We lost one more. What did we do? I think we pushed on the selections, lost one more on the opinions or something.
Yep. Opinions went 1 and 2, yep.
Yeah, so we ended up losing half a unit there. Sunday, 4-1. Everything won, and bases, by the way, added an extra game of profit. So 5-1 Sunday. We didn't mention the UFC that went 4-1 on Saturday.
Banger.
We also did not mention the elite plays, the lower rated elite plays. went 10-4 again after the 12-4 they went last week.
Yep.
Come on, 20. What's that? 26-8. Now, listen, those aren't for everybody. They're lower rated for a reason. Go to the website under the package tab. If you play more than just the top selections, you play more than $300 a game, might want to think about it, especially if you're playing more games than just what we're releasing. That's kind of who that's for. If you're going to the Oklahoma-Texas game and you're going to play it no matter what. You don't care what I do. We give you information on that. Just go read about it. It's not for everybody, but higher end players, $300, $500 a game or more. I mean, they're killing it this year. Friday night we went 3-0 with those plays. I mean, just swept the board. UCLA over Boise and New Mexico. Sunday we had New Orleans plus the 3.5. Actually, they went off at 4, lost by 3, so we covered that. Seattle plus 4.5 won straight up. The Jets plus 3 won straight up. Arizona plus 1 won straight up. Green Bay under the total, we lost. It was an opinion. So what? All right. Absolutely killed Sunday. Another winning week. Everybody's into profit. Go to fatjacksports.com and get on this train. We said it 2 weeks ago. This can go on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I am in a rhythm right now to where most of these games, you read down the games I just read off, not even that close. Now, they were down. Arizona was down at one point.
Yeah, they were down bad in the first half, and they were struggling to find a
pick
group offensively. Yeah.
I didn't watch a game. I watched a minute. I'm in line. I didn't watch 1 minute. I didn't care. We're so far into profit. This is how you know you're dominating the games, is when you don't even need to watch. You go over, still up thousands. Go sweep the board, still up thousands. Doesn't matter. And the NFL, I've decided, Brandon, the NFL is like horse racing.
Okay.
In that there's so much parity in the league. You cannot get a big enough lead, and you can't get down enough to not have the possibility, and I think it's more than 50-50 at this point, but the possibility of games getting closer as they get toward the end. So you have your horse racing, you have front runners, you have closers, and they end up at the end, and somebody comes from behind, and somebody's trying to hold on, and it's pretty close. There's a number of NFL games that are going to be exactly that theory. So even when Arizona was down, I shrugged my shoulder. Okay, it's not over.
Right.
So I don't even think it's a loss. As a matter of fact, I don't know that I had a game. Seattle, I guess, won wire to wire. They were in the lead. They never really looked back. The Jets were down at some point. New Orleans was down half the game. The elite stuff, the Giants under, that's a total at 1. Giants plus the points, I think they were down at some point. The point is that you're never going to, in the NFL, sweep the board with 30-point wins. It's just not the nature of the league. But when you're up, and when you're winning so much, you don't have to worry about it.
It kind of feels like it's trending towards how the NBA is anymore, where like the first 40-some minutes of the game really don't matter because somebody's gonna make a run, and then the last 5 to 6 minutes you're gonna be glued to your television because that's where the action is, and it really is playing well into a lot of people who maybe were in a situation like I was. I overslept a bit on Sunday because the wedding went late, but so I didn't get up in time to get the Saints before the game. When I actually made it to Indiana, so I could actually place my bets live in game, they were plus 5.5. So I actually got a little bit of value there.
Yeah, we've talked about that before with all the in-game betting. I mean, there's a world where we start releasing some in-game stuff because I understand that some of the teams that I recommend are not going to go out and be up 14-0 after the first quarter. This isn't college football.
Right.
And so a lot of times you can take advantage of that. It becomes more work. It becomes tougher for the average guy, but there is some value there because I guess the point is a long way to say something that's easy is that I don't care if I'm down 14 points in the first quarter in the NFL because I understand the handicapping was right. I understand most of the time I'm on the right side. So even if I'm down, more times than not, they're going to come back. And yeah, there is some value that could be earned there if you can stomach playing a team that's down 2 touchdowns in a league full of really good football players.
Right. There are times where, unless you've lost a starting quarterback, that you feel as if, or you have to be reminded that these are grown men. These are professionals. They put in a lot of work at their craft, and they're not going to go down easily.
They're not. And we're going to make a lot of money at that and doing that. So go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up. Everything through the end of the month. What is this? This is the middle of the month, the 10th. So you're looking at $3.99 through Halloween. For $4.99 will get you football and basketball. Basketball starts next week.
Mm.
Let me say that again. Basketball starts next week. Do not wait. Do not miss out. Get signed up right now. Add basketball right now. We're going to make about 60 to 70 games of profit minimum in basketball. It costs a lot less. You just heard the prices: $3.99 for football, $4.99 football and basketball. $100 get you basketball through the end of the month. And you said, "Well, Jack, there's not that many games." Yeah, there are a lot. There are a lot of games. The NBA starts up, college starts up right about Halloween, and then we are on hit the ground running. If you add basketball long term, sign up through the Super Bowl, which is $15.99, I think right now, $16.99, $15.99. Or you can get football and basketball for $26.99. So $1,100 gets you everything. It's less than about $70 a week, $60 a week through the Super Bowl. Lots and lots of selections. The longer packages past that save you even more money. Don't wait. Get signed up today. Start winning. You know what? I want to immediately start on last week, and then we're going to give away a free winner.
Okay.
What stood out to you last week? Talk to me. There's so many things, but let's talk about it.
Georgia appeared to be fallible for the first time in a while.
Against Missouri.
Yeah, which I mean, obviously you go to an SEC road game is never an easy thing, even if the team stinks, unless you're Vanderbilt. But that was really, really puzzling. Also, I think a lot of people were maybe counting the Bills out after that performance in week 3. And really, for the first half of the
start of the game,
they stormed back, and I caught myself Sunday thinking, "Wow, maybe Buffalo isn't as good as we thought," because the Ravens weren't playing all that great, and they were pushing Buffalo around. And then, lo and behold, the NFL happened. They make a comeback, and then they win late.
Buffalo's good as an underdog at home.
Yeah,
there's just no way around it. Missouri, I don't know that I could be a Missouri fan right now. I would need to get in better shape.
Ever.
You have Auburn. The Auburn game the week before that they literally miss an extra point that a middle schooler could have made to win. And then they fumble the ball going into the end zone that would have won. So they end up losing it that way. This last week, they've got the number 1 team in the country on the ropes and can't close the deal. I promise you there's some type of Indian burial ground underneath their campus or something that has got them hexed, because
it's something. Because you're right. They've been snake bit for a while. And after, they went into the SEC and then they won immediately. They won the SEC West very early there. And in the 15, 18 years since then, they haven't done a dang thing.
They find different and new and unique ways to lose on a regular basis. It's really, really difficult to watch. I can't imagine being a Missouri Tiger fan, at least in football. So Oklahoma, Texas this weekend. We didn't lead to the show, which might be the first time in 15 years we did. That we didn't say this is OU Texas weekend. I mean, the trailer parks are empty in Oklahoma. They are not happy. Everybody's circling the wagons, or they've given up and jumped off the bandwagon. Give me your thoughts on Oklahoma real quick. We're going to give away a free winner. But what's going on with this team? Where do you think they are? And then I'll tell you what I think.
Maybe they're allergic to the color purple. I really don't know what is happening, but I do know that is a team that is just getting dominated on both sides of the line right now. And they have not been able to find a way to adjust to that. And now they get to play a Texas team that at least can run the ball pretty good with Bijan Robinson. But they definitely have some problems and some growing pains happening in Norman.
I've been very consistent since summer on my thoughts on the University of Oklahoma. And I want to reiterate what I have said literally for 6 months or more. The transfer portal is the most important element in football today, period. I don't care what's on the side of their helmets. I don't care what's on the front of their jerseys. And I honestly, frankly, no offense, don't care what Brent Venables says. Talented athletes win football games. And if you show up with inferior players, and he can't ever say this, but when you have a year where you have a head coach that's highly regarded, recruiting his type of kids, and it's not just a philosophy type, what Lincoln Riley was doing. He was the offensive mind in the country who, by the way, couldn't get a defensive kid on campus even under his tenure. Everybody that had a pulse that was a 4 or 5-star athlete that felt like they belong in the league now exited the building.
Yep.
Sooner fans don't want to talk about that. They don't want to believe. It's like talking about injuries. Nobody wants to talk about injuries. Nobody wants to talk about the transfer portal. When you show, and he got some other kids in, and the vast majority of those are kids that weren't offered under the previous regime. when you lose athletes and they go other places, there will be a growing pain. There will be growing pains. There will be an adjustment, even for the great Oklahoma. And that's what's going on. They have athletes on both sides of the ball that could not and would not start it even 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody sees them. Quarterback, offensive lineman, defensive back. There's a number of positions where guys are getting time on the field that would not have been playing had it been this time last year. And everybody thought with the kumbaya, let's circle the bat around the campfire, all this, OU will prevail. Let's bear our head in the sand. That is not how it works in gambling or in football. I have said since week 1, who have they beaten? Who did they beat in week 1? Week 2, they struggled against Kent State the first time. Oh, well, you know what? That's fine. And I'm saying, look what happened against Kent State. They're not playing anybody. They get to a decent team, not even decent. Nebraska's totally lost fire their head coach. Kansas State's good. The downside here's the upside and the downside. And then we're going to give away a free winner and get to break and get it going. The downside to OU is that this league has never in my lifetime been more balanced top to bottom. I ask again, Brandon, who's the worst team in the Big 12?
I mean, statistically, and by the record, it might be Oklahoma. I said last week West Virginia, but like you said, they beat Virginia Tech and
should have beat Pitt, could have beat Pitt.
Yep.
Have a couple of good road wins. Their losses don't look near as bad as Kansas continues to win. Is one of the only teams in the country that's undefeated against the spread.
They're getting game day this weekend. First time ever game day is going to Lawrence.
No Texas OU, no Alabama A&M. By gosh, we're going to Lawrence.
TCU, KU.
Good see, we're still remaining. We should have bought up the whole section of Kansas back in June. We could retire right now. Just go scalp secondhand tickets.
Yep.
And they would have sold them to us, by the way.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
we called up the athletic department and said, hey, we want section 104 or section 4, whatever it is that they have.
How many seats do you? No, literally the entire section we want.
The whole section. We're speculating. Fat Jack says they're going over 2.5 wins this year. So we feel like some point everybody's going to jump on this bandwagon. And game day might be here in October. Let's buy up the whole freaking section. I mean, that really would have been the best. I bought $30,000 in euros over the summer because I felt like the euro to dollar had never been worse and it was going to go back up.
Right.
That was the stupidest idea I've ever had.
I
should have bought the entire. I could $30,000. What would that have got me in Lawrence, Kansas football if I'd called them up and said, "Here, I got $30,000. How many 50-yard line seats can I get?"
I mean, even bad seats. You could get like end zone corner. You probably could have got that entire section.
They'd have said, "Do you want to play?" That's they say, "Hey, you got eligibility? You can play left tackle for us."
I still have a little bit left.
You know what, Brandon? Let's find the next Kansas and get you out there. All right, you got 6 months left. Let's get you into some intro to basket weaving and get you out there. Who would it be right now? I mean, who's the worst team in the country that's looking for Utah State? Maybe UConn, UMass. There's a few of them.
I got away though. Yes, being a bad team, but also being a place I would want to live for 6 months.
Well, you know what? You would probably make game day if we could turn the program around. I could buy up all the seats. You make game day. Well, Brandon, 62-year-old Brandon Rush out there getting after it, playing out his final semester as a college athlete. So, all right, FatJackSports.com. Anyway, the bad news, who's the worst team in the Big 12? I'm not saying it is or isn't OU. I think it's still up for discussion. I don't have the answer, nor did I have the answer last week or the week before. I'm telling you right now, it's not who you thought it was.
Yeah.
And it changes every week with who wins. Right now, OU's on the bottom. If they go take care of business this week, which I think is a big if. Mm-hmm. They're big ifs the rest of the way. There's not OU fans buckle up because
there's not an easy game the rest of the year.
There's not, because you have athletes that wouldn't have started last year. That's what you've got. Now, here's the good news, and then we'll give away a free winner. The good news is you have one of the best, not only men, and I said this, I told Knoxville, everybody in Knoxville listens to this show. I told you in Knoxville 3 years ago when they were getting their teeth kicked in by everybody in the SEC, that Josh Heupel was an incredibly good hire and that he was going to turn that. And there are people nodding right now in Knoxville, Tennessee, that he is going to turn them around. He is a great Christian man, a good family man, a great football mind, and a good head coach. And he is good for that program. And they were going to turn it around. Look what's going on now. Tennessee is competing in the SEC. OU is not near as far down as Tennessee was. And they have exactly what I said about Josh Heupel. Great man, great Christian, great coach, great leader of the program. He's all those things. But guess what? The transfer portal opened up. They kicked the door off the hinges, and everybody walked out. That's what happened. And you know what? Some people walked in, not near as many walked in. So what you're going to get this year, and I hope all you OU fans, and that we got to move on, I know, but you OU fans, remember this and stick with this program, at least for now. This is not John Blake, who didn't know. I know that's probably a cardinal sin to even mention right now, but this is not John Blake. This is not somebody who literally had no idea what he was doing, had no business being a head football coach of any university, especially not Oklahoma, and was never going to turn it around. That is not what's going on here. Brent Venables this time next year will win a lot more games, a ton of games than he's going to win this year, even if he wins out, because he'll get his kids. He's great in parents' living room, a great coach, a great man. Don't worry about it. But yeah, this year, and it's the perfect storm. You got the University of Oklahoma that's down, and the whole league is up. So FatJackSports.com, get signed up today, start winning, and stop guessing. We're absolutely have not had a losing week yet since August. We're not going to lose this week. We're going to win again this week, and you're going to wish you had signed up. If you don't, it's less than $100 a week to win. Let's give away a free winner. TCU and Kansas. Brandon, what do you think?
Oh, game day. I mean, anytime you get that game day bump, you're going to have a crowd that's going to be absolutely fired up for the entire atmosphere. The difference being Kansas doesn't necessarily have an atmosphere. Like I've been to that stadium probably 6 times, and every time there's been more visiting fans than home fans. So I don't know, having all that energy in the stadium, in the crowd, if that's going to be able to help them win the game. That said, TCU can absolutely play some ball on the offensive side. Kansas has been much better offensively as well. The total, for me, seems like this might be a place to maybe play the over, because I think both these offenses are very good, and the way the rules are situated right now, everything's geared towards offense. So I kind of would think over in the matchup with these two.
Kansas fans are very funny. Here's what they remind me of, Brandon. There's two things. They're like a professional drinker who stops drinking and decides in the fall they're going to, somebody that really knows how to drink. And then they say in the fall, you know what, I'm not going to drink in the
They're
fall.
doing sober October. Yeah.
I'm going to do sober October. I'm not going to drink, get it back to neutral. And then somebody says, hey, we have a beer pong contest going on, and we're going to give away $1 million to the winner. And that guy immediately comes out of retirement and says, you know what, screw sober November.
Goes full Hulk Hogan, rips the shirt off, and is just
I'm in. Let's roll. All right, because I need the mill, and I'm great at this. This is my wheelhouse. That's what Kansas sports fans are to me.
Okay.
They are good. They know how to be a fan. They're basketball fans. They sell out every time. They show up early. They stay late. They know how to. They know the game. They know what it takes to be a good fan for a sporting team. The problem is, they've been on hiatus for the fall for the better part of 20 years. So it is, how does that, and you know what, frankly, just to be a little more personal about it, here's what they also remind me of. They remind me of a guy who's dating a woman or married to a girl that he really doesn't like and would like to divorce her, and then she hits the lottery.
You got, at that point, man, you got to make a decision. Are you in or are you out?
She's like, you know what? She's a little hotter than she was 5 minutes ago. I'm going to stick around for a while. That's what Kansas is to me. I mean, where have these people been? I understand it's hard to watch a loser, but come on. I mean, this bandwagon's so full right now. I hope they air the tires up, because this, and by the way, I released everybody over 2.5 wins. I've released them. I go on in Kansas City and Wichita, and they ask me every week about Kansas, Kansas State, and Kansas, the Chiefs. And I haven't missed on Kansas yet. I've had them every single week. They don't cover this week. TCU beats them, and they beat them going away. This is a high-scoring game. You're right. To what you said about the total, Kansas offensively is very, very good. They have the D1 quarterback for the first time in who knows how long time. But TCU, and I'm not putting a lot into. I put more into what they did against SMU than did against OU, because I'm still not sure how bad OU is. We're still figuring that out. OU is, they're lost, and they're going to try to figure it out on the fly. This is like changing a tire on I-35.
Screw it, we'll do it live.
We're going to just figure it out as we go. Yeah, we talked all summer. We did all those things. But you know what? It's go time. We got to circle the wagons now. That's what's going on in Norman. They're trying to figure it out on the fly. If they could fix it, they would have already fixed it. So not sure how bad they are. You know what? A lot of times they show up in Dallas, so you can throw the record out on both these teams. Texas hadn't won a game all year, and they come in and beat OU, or it's close, and vice versa. So I would not go out and mortgage my house and play Texas either. But TCU, I do feel pretty good about them. Kansas, one of 3 teams that's 4 or 5-0 against the spread. Kansas, Arkansas State, only 2 teams left that are 5-0 against the spread. SMU 4-0 against the spread.
Wow.
TCU minus the 6.5, your first free win of the day. 800-298-1383, fatjacksports.com. I'm still in London, so don't call. If you do, you're probably going to get the message. Go to the website. You want to win? Go to the website. Listen, I'm making so much money betting. You want to win? You want to sign up? Sign up. You don't want to sign up? Don't sign up. It's up to you. If you want to win, I want you to sign up. That's it. But everybody's winning. I am the Kansas of sports handicapping right now. The bandwagon is full, and we are going to keep winning and keep going. And you need to get on board right now. Less than $100 a week. I'm not raising the prices because we're winning so much. Still the same price, still text to your cell phone, still email to you, and they're going to help you win. Don't go anywhere. Take a quick break, come right back, turn to the NFL, tell you a little bit about London, about the game last Sunday between New Orleans and Minnesota. We've got the Green Bay and the Giants coming up this weekend. A lot to get to in this very busy edition of the Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Hey, it's Brandon Rush from the Fat Jack Sports Service. If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. We are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every weekend. Plus, see funny clips from the show, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds, and get primed for more profit every week with Bets and Breakfast, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. only on YouTube. Stay connected to the Fat Jack at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack. Another week in the books. We are falling into profit. $100 players up over $3,000 and dialed in both NFL and college football. Go to fatjacksports.com and for less than $100 a week, start making money betting on the games. The plays are texted to your cell phone, they're emailed to you, and they're going to get you into profit. Everybody gets the same plays. They're posted and documented under the results tab, and you're going to win if you'll get signed up. Go to fatjacksports.com, sign up today, and win.
If you're looking for more action this week, Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. With multi-sport prop entries, you can mix and match your action every day from almost anywhere in the country. Sign up with promo code FATJACK and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's $100 when you sign up with promo code FATJACK. Go to prizepicks.com or download the app and sign up with promo code FATJACK to get in on the action today. Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Now here is our host, a man full of crumpets. He's the Fat Jack.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment 2. What is a crumpet? Is it a biscuit, I think, maybe?
Yeah, isn't that what, you watched Ted Lasso. Isn't that what he's making?
He gives biscuits to her.
I thought crumpets and biscuits were the same.
Maybe they are. They have tea and crumpets. It makes sense.
A quick Google search tells me a crumpet is a small griddle bread made from an unsweetened batter of water or milk, flour, and yeast.
Yeah, I'm not eating that. I drink a lot of tea over here, but I eat with cookies or sandwiches. So, Fat Jack Sports Hour segment number 2. You're right. I'm in London right now. Lots of crumpets, lots of everything. I meat pies. I'm loving a meat pie right now. They're basically like an empanada, but with an English flair. Have some gravy in the middle. Really, really good. Fish and chips. I've fish and chips out. I love it over here. And I will tell you, if you didn't think that the NFL was an international sport, come over here for one of these games. I was telling you off the air. By the way, fatjacksports.com. Get signed up and tell a story. Then we'll give away a free winner. But less than $100 a week. Haven't lost since August. Everybody's winning. Go. All right, there you go. Now back to London. I was telling you off the air, I have been to 3 or 4 national championship games, probably 5 other Orange Bowls, 3 Rose Bowls. I haven't been to the Super Bowl, but I have because I go to Vegas every year for the Super Bowl. But I've definitely looked at tickets. I have never been to a more in-demand ticket than was last week's London. New Orleans Saints versus Minnesota Vikings, Brandon. I don't know that I've ever, I've never tried. I had a ticket, but I wanted to check and see. I had actually 3 tickets, but I wanted to check and see what the climate was. StubHub had 0 tickets available starting on Sunday morning.
That's unheard of.
Ticketmaster had 0 tickets available. And these are secondary market tickets, $5,000-$6,000. You couldn't get in that stadium on Saturday, for under $600, 600 euros, which is actually, or 600 pounds, which is actually about $700 because apparently nobody got the memo that the pound and the dollar are about even right now over here. Because
Right.
every time I pay for something, I mean, I'm paying $40 or $50 worth of conversion rate. So, incredibly knowledgeable crowd. Everybody has a jersey on. A lot of people doing fantasy league and American sports over here. They show it on the Sky Network, so that people have become fans. If you follow my show Beat the Odds, or the show I'm on, I did some interviews. Interviewed a dad and a daughter that were going to the game.
I saw that. That was pretty good. Yeah.
And yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm a huge Alvin Kamara fan. Started with the colors, and now I'm an Alvin Kamara fan. I mean, they're just delightful people. They really are. Really, really nice spirits. And passionate about everything they do. These guys, even the people that didn't know what American football was, they complain because there's a ton of rules. They compare it kind of to rugby, but with more rules. It's not like their football. I've tried to get them to change the name to soccer. Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. But incredibly passionate crowd. A lot of people from New Orleans, a lot of people from Minnesota were here. This week will be stupid. I mean, the Giants fans travel for this thing. This place will be full of Giants fans. I go into Vegas when the Giants make the Super Bowl, which is not never, but when they do, it's going to be every drunk, pot-bellied, pizza-eating, whatever.
That's why I don't want Buffalo to ever make the Super Bowl, because I don't want them to invade Vegas that weekend.
Anybody that calls himself the Mafia, I mean, come on, people. Anyway. But it is an amazing event. This week will be even more. Most of them, I don't think, realize that this week coming up is the week to go. You get a chance to see Aaron Rodgers. Imagine what they've stomached with these games. Jacksonville almost every year against somebody else that's bad. They literally didn't do the fans any favors from a talent standpoint. They're getting a generational quarterback coming to London this week.
Absolute first ballot Hall of Famer, and a guy who, I mean, he's a defending 2-time MVP.
I don't know that a lot of them realized it, because a lot of local fans were there. I did hear some grumblings of guys that had tickets saying, "Oh, next week the 800 pounds for the ticket." I didn't see that. I looked on StubHub. I think you could have got in this next week. You could have, because Sunday you couldn't even get in the game. Last Sunday, this Sunday you could still get in to see. And I don't know that all of them realize this is the one. If you're going to get to see a game, our show runs all over Wisconsin, and it's so easy to take for granted. It also runs in Kansas. When you get these generational quarterbacks, and I'm really cart before the horse with Patrick Mahomes, although some of the stuff he does we've never seen before.
Absolutely. That stuff Sunday night was disgusting.
Ridiculous. He really was, although I went to bed early. Early means like 3 a.m., by the way.
Right.
But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, generational quarterback, first ballot Hall of Fame, all the things you just said. So they definitely, this is the one to see. But it's a really, really neat event. They have great food, great stadium. They know how to party. That's the thing. This is a professional soccer. Tottenham Stadium they have a professional soccer team. It reminds you of college. All right, they tailgate in the front yards. It's not like the NFL where they've got the big parking lots and you think Kansas City and think Lambeau, and where you've got all this room. It's in a neighborhood. It's neighborhood driven. The churches have things set up. It's their big fundraisers. It's like college football atmosphere.
$40 all you can eat type deals.
You can do some of that. They have clubs like for their soccer stuff to where you can purchase in the churches, like a beer garden in the church. So you purchase a private membership to go into the beer garden that is inside a church on game days. It's their big fundraiser, and they're doing it via selling beer. I mean, I'm surprised Oklahoma doesn't do that. How's McFarland Church not have a beer garden?
Right, exactly. I did 23andMe, the genealogy research thing through your DNA. I'm a lot English. This is speaking to me on so many levels right now.
Right?
It's not funny.
I mean, how many of the deacons did it take to say, you know what I think we should do? We want to build a new gym outside the church. Let's have a private club where they could come in. The Soho Club is a big deal in New York and around the country. It was invented here.
Yep.
And actually, my daughter, not daughter-in-law, but my son's girlfriend, who they're going to get married, she's a member of the Soho Club. I think I'm going to probably join.
Wow.
It's a neat environment. Right. And it's all really good food. And not the point. The point is it was invented here. So how many of the church elders did it say, you know what, we can make $50,000 a soccer season or football season. Just let's have a private club. We'll serve beer. McFarland Church, by the way, if you do it, send me some, who's Catholic over there? That'd be the one, right? Catholics drink. They drink.
Catholics definitely get after it, yeah.
So, yeah, why they don't have a private club at the Catholic church down in Norman on campus or wherever to where you can pay, make it a big deal, $5K a year to go in and eat food and drink before the games and enjoy your game day. That's what these people are doing. They're loving it. So, all right, so we talk about London games. We'll give away a free winner and work into that. Giants and Green Bay. Favorites have done really well in London. If you take out Jacksonville, the favorites are on a 22-7-1. Actually, even with Jacksonville, straight up, they're on a 22-7-1 run, 18-12 against the spread, and 8 of the last 13 have gone under the total since 2007. If you take out Jacksonville, they're 19-3-1 straight up.
Oof.
So the favorites win almost every time over here, and 15-8 against the spread. And of course, that's giving this last Sunday to New Orleans, which was 2.5, I guess, Monday, Tuesday, but everything after the weekend, they were 3.5 up to 4. I saw 4.5 a lot of places. So, favorites have been kind of the name of the game over here. And so this week you've got the Packers 8-point favorite in London over the Giants. I mean, interesting game because Green Bay has not been without problems offensively. There's been very little chemistry. As I said, 15 of the last 23 have gone under the total. And so a lot more going on, 60% or so, almost 60%, have gone under the total. And you've got a low total in this one. So, but we saw this last week, Brandon, some of these lower totals that were perceived to stay under have been going over. We saw the New England game go over. We saw the Tampa-Kansas City game fly over. So what do you think of this one, this early Sunday morning game?
The Packers offense, as you mentioned, has really kind of struggled to kind of find any kind of groove with the receiving core that they've got in there. I mean, Randall Cobb is about the only receiver who really kind of knows this offense. Robert Tonyan, the tight end, hasn't been able to get on track, and they seem to forget that they have a stud running back at times and don't give Aaron Jones the football. That said, they have so many problems, I think, defensively. When a third-string quarterback who the Patriots had last week because of the injuries to the Mac Jones, and then the Brian Hoyer came in. Bailey Zappi comes in and puts 24 on you. That's not a good sign, especially considering that the Giants, I think, are better across the board offensively than what the Patriots have. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're not going to be able to score.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't take a lot to get over 40. Although most games do stay under. I would lean toward the Giants plus the points. I do think this is, if it stays low scoring, you get a big backdoor there with any type of offense. Green Bay's offense is defense is for real. So I don't know that they're going to, but Saquon Barkley's been effective and he's been better. It just takes one, and he is one of those breakaway one play type guys who'll get it into the end zone. This is going to be a week, home run hitter. This is going to be a week in the NFL where if you pay attention to recency bias, you're probably going to lose. There's a ton of games where you look at and you say, how are the Saints favored over Seattle? Seattle looks like they're going the right way.
Number one offense in the NFL.
And there you go. And how's that? How's that possible? People will scratch their heads at those things. Trivia question, Brent, who's the only 4-0 against the spread team in the NFL?
I know this because I watched you on Beat the Odds. That's the Atlanta Falcons.
The hot Atlanta Falcons, your ex-team. Only 4-0.
They get hotter after you divorce them.
That's right. That's exactly right. They go through that divorced 20-pound drop, and now they're ready to roll. So I see they glow up all over Instagram. So
it happens.
Atlanta's doing that right now. They play Tampa. So I would go the Giants plus the points. And by the way, this is early, so we'll see by the time we get to Sunday. But that'll be your second free winner of the day. 800-298-1383. Go to fatjacksports.com. If you want to win, get signed up. Go to the results tab. Look at how you do. Apply any amount you want to the plays there, and then apply half of that to the ones that say O next to them. If you like baseball, just add on 20 games, because since August 1st, we're up over 20 games of profit. So if you play bases, add whatever number you want to 20 times 20. That's what you'd be up. And then start asking yourself, how am I actually doing betting on my own? And am I winning? And if I'm not, how much am I down? And what's the difference between what I'm down and what I would be up applying those numbers? You're going to find that almost always it's going to be a great value to get signed up. $3.99 through Halloween, less than $100 a week through the Super Bowl. Basketball starts this coming week. Get signed up today. Start winning money. Add some discipline. The picks are text to your cell phone. They're emailed to you, and they will help you win.
If you're looking for more action this week, Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. With multi-sport prop entries, you can mix and match your action every day from almost anywhere in the country. Sign up with promo code FATJACK and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's $100 when you sign up with promo code FATJACK. Go to prizepicks.com or download the app and sign up with promo code FATJACK to get in on the action today.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack. Another week in the books. We are falling into profit. $100 players up over $3,000 and dialed in both NFL and college football. Go to FatJackSports.com and for less than $100 a week, start making money betting on the games. The plays are texted to your cell phone, they're emailed to you, and they're going to get you into profit. Everybody gets the same plays. They're posted and documented under the results tab, and you're going to win if you'll get signed up. Go to FatJackSports.com, sign up today, and win.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. For the final time this week, here is our host, our London Bureau, the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 3, wrapping up the show, getting you ready to make some money. Gosh, we're into October, already into double digits in October, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, the season has quickly flown by. We are 25% of the way through the NFL regular season, but that means we're 4 weeks closer to Super Bowl weekend in Vegas.
And we are making so much money right now that if it continues at this, I mean, we might all buy a hot air balloon and just start throwing money out over the strip. I mean, there's just no telling what's going to happen. So
that would be a first, I think.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're here for first. I mean, I don't know that there's many handicappers that have flown into London that are doing double duty, that are getting their people lined up for winners and reporting back on the different ways to turn a profit in the people here in London. They have a neat deal. I don't know if you haven't seen it yet because they haven't run it yet, but go to FatJackSports.com, less than $100 a week. Get signed up. Basketball starts this next week. We are going to continue to make a ton of money. Don't miss out. And if you're on a football package, add basketball now. We talked about the elite plays, those lower rated plays early in the show. Get those added if you're playing over $300 or playing more than just our top plays. Neat thing that they do here in London. One of the things I like the most. It's called the I don't even know, compassion wall, I think. Okay. Something wall. You can probably look it up. It's basically some hooks, code hooks, that are on the outside of buildings. And basically you go and you hang a coat up there. And if you're less fortunate and you need a coat, you go take a coat. If you have an extra coat, you leave a coat. If you need to borrow a coat, hang it up at the next stop. It's basically free Uber or free bikes or whatever for coats.
Well, and it's community taking care of each other and not having to do so in a way where you have to go through a foundation or a church or an entity in order to do it.
It's anonymous. Exactly. You just do something because you have an extra coat and you want to do something good. They make it. That's something America doesn't do a great job of, making it easier to help other people. You really do have to. And I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course, you can donate to, but everybody asks themselves, what charities are good? What charities are wasting my money? And And you go through all of that in your head. The homeless people that are on the side of the street, you're like, okay, which one of these are just doing it and then go back to their 3-bedroom house over on the north side?
Right.
And which one's actually, it's so difficult to know who to help. This is one of those easy A to B. We have coats. People need coats. It gets cold. Hang them on the hooks. Don't tell anybody. And that way, when somebody needs it, they'll know that's what these coats are for.
We couldn't do that in America because people would then take those coats and then sell them on eBay.
Sell them on eBay. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Try to make a profit of it somehow, because that's the way we do things in this country.
I would like to think that we're better than that. And I think we should at least try it in some cities. And Burlington Coat Factory or somebody could sponsor it, put up a plaque over it or something, and just, make it something that's more, if we want to play into the commerce, part of our society, that's fine with me. If it gets coats to people who need it, it's fine. I'm for it. So I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I think it's called the compassion wall or something like that. So anyway, the other things about London, it's one of those places that if the weather was better, I could move over here, or at least be here a lot more.
Yeah, you don't do the cloudy, gloomy stuff all that well. You need some sunshine and
I do. People can barely be around me with sun. If you put me in the clouds and the shade and the rain and stuff, I just don't know that even my wife, who can tolerate anything, would probably send me up to wherever. So, Yeah, but it really a neat place, very walkable city as well. Actually, we have a niece that was just over here that we're going to take to dinner. So
Nice.
people will just pop up over here. It's a really neat deal. So NFL, Brandon, who do you like this week? What are you looking at? What's exciting you?
Philly, Arizona. I mean, you get the only undefeated team left in the NFL now going on the road to face an Arizona team that's really maybe kind of starting to find their own. They seem to find ways to win games, and these are two teams that I feel like are very tough outs, regardless of opponent, time, or location. They're going to be in it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's when the sharps this year. We talk about sharps and squares. People who know what they're doing in this world, people that don't. Almost the consensus with everybody, including us. I mean, when you got our preseason win totals, one of the two teams that I gave everybody to win the Super Bowl was Philly. And I think 30-1, 25-31, really, really long. Most of the sharps knew this Philadelphia team was going to be really good this year. And that's rare that everybody I talk to that knows what they're doing, everybody knew Philly's going to be really good. Jalen Hurts will get better. Their offensive defensive line are going to dominate a lot of teams. They're going to win a bunch of football games, and that's exactly what's happened. So people who are listening for the first time, if you're one of those people that thinks nobody wins money betting on sports, you're an idiot as far as it relates to betting on sports. And I'm just telling you right now, there's not just me. There are a number of people, a lot of people that I know, and it's not a lot in the world, less than 3%, but there are a number of people that make real money betting on sports. And now that I'm doing this TV show, I know even more of them. And we all kind of think alike. It's very interesting, kind of eye-opening. Some of the people I've met that without knowing each other, we kind of look at things the same. People who win kind of look at things the same way. Here's my deal with Arizona, who was the other team that I released to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They remind me of the T-Birds from Grease. The T-Birds, the John Travolta, his Danny Zuko or whatever, the movie Grease.
Mm-hmm.
That group is great until you get in a fight with them, and then they're going to run. They're going to start brushing their hair and run to the hills.
They look good.
They're not really a gang, right? I mean, they look like a gang. They want to be like a gang. Grease lightning. Everybody get in the car. The girls are going to, all's cool. Another gang comes up and says, hey, we're fighting over this turf. Those guys will start combing their hair and run to the hills. Arizona kind of reminds me of that. I think there are going to be spots that they're going to be able to take advantage of who they're playing, and they're going to win some games because they're not horrible. But do you want to go to war with them? I mean, you want this team in the second round of the playoffs against somebody good? I don't think you do. They could stay inside this number, but this team plays worse at home than they do on the road.
Which is weird, yeah.
It really is, but it's consistent. I mean, they do not play as well at home as they do on the road. We, by the way, released Arizona last week. We released the Cardinals on the show. Beat the Odds. That was my top pick. Those top picks are 6-1-1 against the spread. I have not lost yet on that show. And my top pick this week of Beat the Odds were the Cardinals over Carolina. Interesting stat. I didn't give it last week on the show. Interesting stat about Matt Rule. Did I give it on the show or not?
You did not give it on this show, no, but you did talk about it on Beat the Odds.
I did. Beat the Odds and a lot of other. Matt Rule, if his teams of Carolina give up under 16 points, he is 10-1 against the spread. When he holds his opponents to under 10 points, 10-1, 16 points. Yeah, sorry. 10-0 against the spread. Under 16 points, Carolina 10-0 against the spread. When their teams give up over 16 points, he's 1-25 against the spread. I went on national show in LA and Los Angeles, and the Anita Marks, who I go on with, she could not believe that was a stat. Now it's all over the internet. You see it, but I was on it last week. 1-25 against the spread when his teams give up 16 points or more. So basically, when you're playing Carolina, figure out if the other team can score 16 points or not, and if they can, play that other team. If they can't, you think they can hold them under that, you might want to play Matt Rule's team because he's been very consistent as a head coach for Carolina. The winner in that game, I will just tell you, I'm going to play under. I'm going to reserve my opinion on the side because I do think there's a possibility we're going to play this game, and I'm still working through it because I do know a lot about both these teams, including, like I said, I picked them to win the big one at the end. So let's go under the 48.5, 49, whatever it is, as your third free winner. There's 3 free winners here. Go follow me on Twitter at FatJackSports or Instagram at FatJackSports. I give away free winners there 2 or 3 times a week. Also, go to the website, fatjacksports.com. You can sign up for a free winner there. A lot of those won this last week. I had 3 or 4 of them. I think there were 2-1, or 2-0-1, 2-0-1. So 3 last week. So thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Another week in the books. We had a great week last week. We're going to continue it this week. And because you've joined the podcast, you're going to get some free winners out of us as well. So, Brandon, how's everything going with you? Good?
It was good. I had that wedding that I went to over the weekend. It was one of Jamie's friends, and it was a deal where you've met a couple of the couples that were there. We were all kind of at the same table. We were all at like the Land of Misfit Toys. We were literally the last table that got to eat because it was like a buffet style. So they would let you go to the buffet in order of like importance, so to speak. We knew we were like the last group that was invited or maybe accepted invitations. But it was fun to hang out with the husbands of Jamie's friends because they are all degenerates, and we all were comparing war stories about them losing money and me winning money. So it was a fun weekend for me.
Well, we need to get coupon code Brandon. Have them sign up for the freaking service. We'll give them 20% off and turn these losers into winners.
Something, man. Yeah, it's fun though to relish because like they're all just like, because they're all Kentucky fans. So they were going into the night miserable because Kentucky got thumped by Ole Miss. But then they just turn around and drink their pain away. So
that's what they do. That's what ego does.
Yes,
they don't sign up. They'd rather lose and then get drunk than they would to win.
And like they know I do this show. They know that you win, and they're just stubborn.
It's ego.
Yep.
It's just too big an ego. And I guess I understand it. I just don't understand giving money away. It doesn't make sense to me when you can win. And like I say, you don't have to tell anybody. Just play the plays and act like they're yours.
Exactly. Everyone will then think, "Oh my God, you're a genius."
Yeah, at least you'll know you're doing something smart. It's a little bit like going out and then eating yourself so full that you throw up.
Ugh.
I've done that. When I was big, I would do that. I'd go eat myself sick, and then I would throw up. And when I was done throwing up, I would feel really bad about myself. And I'd be like, "Why did you eat so much? Why did you do that?" But it never dawned on me to eat less.
No, and that was never part of the equation.
That's not the thing. That would solve it, but not in my mind. My mind is,
me happy?
Why? How am I so weak? I'm throwing up after I eat. But with the gambling, it's the same way. They know they have to know there's another way to do it that might be more profitable and productive. But they just choose to be miserable. They choose to be more miserable than they would be if they were winning. I don't get that. I mean, I'm perfectly happy. I get other guys' plays that win. I play those and I spend that money. And I don't care who gave it to me because I gamble for money, not for fun. I do think that's part of it too. Guys gamble for fun.
And I think that's where the ego is included. If it was where the switch was flipped, where they were like, "Hey, I can and will make a lot of money doing this," they would set their ego aside. But they're like, "Oh, I'm just having fun, blah blah blah, BSing with my buddies."
Exactly.
They want that to be like, "Oh, see, I told you Tennessee was going to win."
Yeah, I'll donate. I'll donate because it's just enjoyment. And I guess I get that. I don't do it for fun. I do it for money. And so that's the thing. And it is fun when you win. So that's my whole thing. I have fun because I win, but I don't do it for the fun. Fun is like a byproduct where I think they're doing it for the fun. And if they happen to win a game or win a day, that's a byproduct. They have it opposite of what I think that's probably what's
different
going on.
mindset. Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. All right, so let's look at a couple free winners, get them out there for people tuning in. Brandon, give me your first one. We'll give away 2 apiece today.
BYU against Notre Dame in Vegas. Notre Dame always kind of plays these at least 1 or 2 games a year where it's a sort of a destination game. They played in Jerry's World a couple times. They played in Ireland a couple years ago, which obviously makes sense. But to play a team like BYU in Vegas is going to be interesting because you get the Mormons, you get the Catholics in Sin City. This has the potential to be a very entertaining game. We've been on BYU a bunch early this year, and Notre Dame has really kind of struggled coming out of the blocks. BYU a 4-point underdog. This feels fishy as heck to me. But I'm going to take the Cougars just because I think they're a lot more physical than Notre Dame, and they're going to have, I think, a larger percentage of that home crowd because BYU, anytime they play in like the Las Vegas Bowl, they always bring crowds, and they've had this game circled on their calendar for a long time. It'll be a home environment for the Cougars.
If you go to this game, wear your sunglasses because it's going to be so white. It's going to be the widest stadium in America on Saturday.
And even if it isn't, and it's like a 3:30 Pacific kick, so it's going to be just the sun's just going to be bouncing off these people.
Yeah, this has little to do with the sun and everything to do with there won't be an African American in there on either side, but definitely BYU. I've been in Vegas when there's been I have good friends that are Mormon, and I met them out there a couple years, actually maybe last year. Went to Din Tai Fung and stuff. They are the widest people I know, and I've told them that. And everybody at BYU is short of Utah playing Utah State or something like that. This will be, but you're exactly right. They travel really well. These people love football. They travel well, and the people who they typically do really well. They manage their money. They're not addicted to anything, so they have money to travel, and they're okay going.
Their addiction is supporting BYU athletics.
That's exactly right. And so they'll go to the game in Vegas because they're not gambling.
Yep.
Most of them doesn't. Very few of them. They're not drinking. They're not gambling. So Vegas is great. They'll go to a show. They'll eat some great meals, and they'll go watch the Cougs play. I'm sure I'll have some friends out there, but actually, so I really do like the side of that. All right, let's look at Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. I like Texas Tech here, Brandon. Ooh. This is the Texas Tech team that has been overlooked for sure all year long, actually. They've done nothing but win other than this last week. And I think in most of the public's mind, and even Vegas, they've never really caught up with how good Texas Tech can be. And this last week, everybody, I'm sure, said, well, that's who we thought they were.
Right.
Kansas State offensively had a couple of really long plays. That game was very close for a long time. Couple of really long plays. And Kansas State, we've seen, is really pretty good. OSU is a different animal in my mind. They are not a great offensive team. They're gonna not score a bunch of points, and I think the back door has been kicked off in this game, especially double digits, 9.5, 10 points. Give me the Red Raiders plus the points. I'm not sure they win, but I think they cover the number.
Very nice. Tennessee and LSU. LSU kind of got a little bit of swagger back last week. They're now back into the top 25. We talked during the show that Tennessee has really kind of done a lot of good things with Josh Heupel at the helm. I don't think they're going to maybe have the hangover of beating Florida that we've seen some teams have, like Kentucky did a week ago. I really like Tennessee, even going down into a noon game at Death Valley. It's going to be hot, but they can handle it. So Tennessee, a top-ranked or a top 10 team on the road, might be a recipe for disaster for some, but I like Tennessee here.
Well, and definitely two different types of styles going here. Tennessee scores a ton of points. LSU offensively has not been consistent, to say the least.
And they never have been.
Yeah,
never.
So if they get in a track meet, it's probably a problem there. I don't hate that play either. Let's look at Utah going to UCLA. I played against UCLA last week and missed on them with Washington. I just think UCLA is overvalued, and I do believe Utah's a good team. They are one of those teams that they're like BYU. They play very hard from start to finish. Good seats still remaining in the Rose Bowl. They will, even though both these teams are ranked in the top 20, they will not sell that thing out by far. And Utah travels well to the West Coast. They're going to have a bunch of people in the stadium. I will take Utah minus the 4 on the road against UCLA. Guys, if you want to make money this week, go to fatjacksports.com. We're absolutely dialed in. Basketball's coming. And thank you for listening to the podcast. Until next week, Brandon the Fat Jack. This has been the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Hey, this is the Fat Jack. Another week in the books. We are falling into profit. $100 players up over $3,000 and dialed in both NFL and college football. Go to fatjacksports.com and for less than $100 a week, start making money betting on the games. The plays are texted to your cell phone, they're emailed to you, and they're going to get you into profit. Everybody gets the same plays. They're posted and documented under the results tab, and you're going to win if you'll get signed up. Go to fatjacksports.com, sign up today and win.
Hey, it's Brandon Rush from the Fat Jack Sports Service. If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. We are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every weekend. Plus, see funny clips from the show, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds, and get primed for more profit every week with Bets and Breakfast, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. only on YouTube. Stay connected to the Fat Jack at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.